Hi, this is Patrick Durkin, and we often receive questions about the taste of structured water and the feelings of structured water and whether people are experiencing or not. So I wanted to speak to that issue. As I do so, I want to share with you for a second. This is the book that I wrote. It's called Flow by Patrick Durkin. And the important part that I want to share for this conversation is the tagline of it, which is from pure and safe water. That is the idea that most people want filtered water and they think that makes water safe, to higher states of consciousness, which is actually what's available for us in water that is healthy and vibrant and vital. And so having answered the phone at this company for the first 5 years of our existence and spoken to tens of thousands of people about water and also immersed my life in experiencing understanding, I have a wealth of knowledge on this topic. And the place that I want to start is that most people, when they go to experience structured water for the first time, they are looking at it through a very limited lens, which is the lens of taste. And they say, oh, I don't taste a difference, or I do taste a difference. But either way, I would suggest that broadening the lens through which we look is really important. And the broad lens is, how do I experience this water? Now, when you open up to experience the water, then you can bring forth things that you've probably never thought about. Lord knows I hadn't thought about them when I started this journey in 2012. So as a starting point, I noticed the way water feels. And so as an example, prior to being in this business, I drank reverse osmosis water for 8 years. And that water tasted really pure, but now if I drink it, it feels dehydrating. And the way that it feels dehydrating to me is inside my cheeks. It feels to me like drinking a cup of green tea, which is a dehydrating experience. And so one of my measures for experiencing structured water or experiencing reverse osmosis water is that feel inside my cheeks. And RO water really doesn't feel very good to me at all. So there's the question of how water feels to you. And people who do have the sensitivity and have developed the awareness often say that structured water feels softer or wetter. And they also describe it as being likable. It's another characteristic of it, which is often accompanied with, I can't explain it, but I know I like it and I'm going to continue on with it. So as you broaden your experience, maybe you'll have different ways that the experience of water shows up for you and helps you know the difference that an aqua energizer makes. Some other places you might look are your cycles, like your circadian rhythm and your emotions and your energy levels. And so for me, I tend to be a fairly emotionally aware being. And if I get dehydrated, I feel poorly quickly. I feel constricted and kind of dried up. And if I usually have one of these that I'm carrying around, and if I go drink one of these, I tend to feel better emotionally very quickly. And it took me a long time to develop that discernment. So you may or may not notice it right away. You may or may not notice you're sleeping differently. You can notice your skin and the way that is. I notice like a sharpness and a flowing creativity in my mental capacities. So those are all places to look to have the experience of knowing that structured water makes a difference. So inside of purchasing a device and then not understanding why we don't experience a taste difference all the time, we will then start to question the device. And the questions people put to the device are, is this device working? How do I know? If they have a portable device, people notice that when they shake it, it rattles, the crystals inside move, and that's by design. And so people will question the rattle, or the minerals that are on the coating of the outside of the device, they're different on every one, and they'll wonder, like, is this one too dark or this one too light? And those are really normal questions that people ask. But what I want to share is now that we're a dozen years into this journey, we've had the privilege of submitting that device for testing. It's been tested using UV spectrometry, and it has been verified to change water from a predominant state of H2O to H3O2. So the lab work is done, and the question isn't whether the device is working. The question is whether you have the sensitivity to know that it's working. So do your best to increase your sensitivity. I certainly did in my long journey with this, and that included things like I developed a system I called 3 days on, 3 days off, which was if I couldn't tell the difference between structured water and alkaline water, or structured water and hydrogen water, or tap water that was filtered and then structured, all these type of things. I investigated all of them. And when I couldn't tell the difference, I would do one for 3 days and let my body get really accustomed to it. And then I would switch to another, and I would keep switching like that. And eventually, when I went back to ones that my body was not aligned with, I would be kind of repelled by them. I didn't want that anymore. And it eventually became clear to me that the structured water with a structured water device that uses a vortex and no electricity and sacred geometry, that was the key to having something that structured water in a way that really made sense to me. So you can try the 3 days on, 3 days off. The other thing you can do is you can try the original structured water, which is water in nature. So the last, I guess, 7 or 8 years, I've planned my travels around water. And so I go to waterfalls and I go to springs. There's a website, findaspring.com, that you can take a look at. And when you're going somewhere, stop and fill up some jugs with living spring water right out of the earth. Or when you get somewhere, go and play in a waterfall. And after a while, if you keep inviting the awareness of the experience of water, your sensitivity to it will expand. So that's my best invitation to you. And then, the last thing I want to say in terms of assurance for you that your device is working is that, to me, the most important perspective on all of this is a crowdsourced opinion that structured water devices make life better. I had a career that was all about money. I was miserable. I was fearful. I was constricted. I didn't know it. I just thought I was chasing money and that was the right thing to be doing. And that career ended in 2010. And as I've had the opportunity to build a second career in life, it's not about money. It's not that money doesn't fuel the business and move us forward. It's just that I'd rather do the right thing than make a decision just for money. And so I invite you to look at our testimonials and reviews on our products and to come onto our live community calls and to understand that the Wellness Enterprise is a sacred commerce company. That's the phrase that we use for the way we choose to engage in the world. And what we do is intended to make a difference in your life. And if it wasn't making a difference in your life, I'd do something else with mine. There's no point in being in a business that's just for money. So I'm really confident in what we do, and I'm really confident in our devices. And I know that you have the discernment inside of you to taste, feel, and experience the difference that structured water makes. And I invite you to engage the dialogue and then communicate with us and tell us what you're experiencing. And if you're open and you're moving forward and willing to have us make a difference, we'll be happy to engage that dialogue with you and help you with the experiences that we've already had. All right, thanks for tuning in.